welcome back to the Always Reading Book Club. It is your girl Kiki Reader, and we have a new series. We're diving into the Please series by Willow Summers, and the first book in that series is going to be called Yes, Please. Olivia, she has a friend named Kimberly, and they're going to meet up at a cafe. Olivia, she's a computer science graduate from Stanford. So she graduated maybe about 6 months ago. And she has been trying to get a job. She's been putting in applications in her field as well as even jobs that have nothing to do with her field. And she's just getting nowhere. She keeps getting the same response. You have too much, you don't have enough experience to work in her actual field, or it'll say, oh, this is below you, you won't stay once something becomes available. So she's having a tough time right now. I don't know if she keeps getting the same response from ones in her field that are telling her that, you don't have enough experience. And my thing is, of course, how are you going to get the experience if you can't get a job? And then when she tries to do something that's outside of her field, they tell her, once a job becomes available in your field, you're going to leave us. So she's just not able to get anything, poor thing. So her friend Kimberly comes from, as they say, a good stock. Her family has money. Her dad owns his own company. She met Kimberly at Stanford. So they've been friends since her freshman year. Kimberly's probably like maybe 3 years older. And they just remained friends throughout the years. Kimberly's telling her about this position she knows for an administrative assistant. And it is working for the Hunter Carlisle. So at first, at this point, she'll take any type of a job because she has bills and the savings that she has. I think she said she had like maybe a month's worth of rent left. So everything's drying up. So she needs to get a job like ASAP. So Kimberly starts to tell her about the job. She's like, okay, so, you are an assistant. It is that. But there's also like a second part to the job that you kind of have to do. And so now Olivia's intrigued. She's like, what? So apparently his assistant also serves as the person that takes care of his sexual needs. So he does a round of interviews, and all the women, like, you have to be invited pretty much to even apply for this position, right? So you will have highly qualified women applying to get in this position. 2 reasons. First of all, this man's rich, highly successful. The business that he has, like, it's massive. It's great experience that you want on your resume. So there's multiple reasons why people would do this and work below their degree to do it. And he pays really well as well. And then also, we now have on the table, you got to screw him. So of course, we're like, well, Kimberly, how do you know about this? Well, Kimberly, a few years ago, she had applied for the job. And she got to the second round. And that's where I guess he does like the, see if they were compatible sexually. And she's like, that was the best sex of my life, The only reason she isn't, applying for it again is because she's now in a great relationship with her boyfriend. I think his name is Robbie. And, they're like on the track to get married. So that's like the only reason why. Otherwise, she would be down for this. So you have to get invited, but you can I guess refer someone because they're going to do backgrounds and stuff like that. So she gives the information to her so she can, think about doing it. So Olivia's kind of spinning with the information like, oh my gosh, I got to do that. But she's just getting out of a breakup with a guy named Jonathan. She was in love with him, and he was a rich guy. And he basically told her, in other words, I need to find someone that's more so in my tax bracket. That's why he dumped her. That's so sad. But that's why he dumped her. So he clearly didn't really feel anything too much for her. So at the same time, she's kind of looking at this like maybe this could work. If there's no attachments, then that's kind of maybe what I need. So plus the fact when she goes to her apartment, her roommate Jane, total bitch, she's just kind of like, yeah, if you're late on the rent this month, I'm putting you out. I already got someone lined up. So it's pretty evident she's got to go to this meeting. So she goes to the interview. Of course, the women there, they're gorgeous. They have their designer handbags. She feels completely out of place. She goes in to meet with Hunter. The man is more stunning than what Kimmy had even described. So when he asked her one of the questions, I think it was kind of like, what's your daily routine? She found herself pretty much spilling everything to him. So all the way from her, daily walks to her current money problems. Like she just laid it all out there. And so he excuses her and she's leaving. And of course she's clumsy. So she's about to fall. And I think he catches her and she can tell like, oh my gosh, she's got like this hard body and she is so turned on. So she apologizes and she runs out quickly. So she stopped at the desk because he had told her, stop at the desk and, make sure they have all your information. And so she did. And she had to tell the woman, hey, the number is right, but the phone number isn't working because I don't have any service right now with it. The best way to reach me is like email or Skype. So 2 days later, her phone rings. And she looks at the phone and she's looking at it like, how in the world is this phone not paid the bill? So she answers the phone from Hunter's office. And she tells her that there is a second interview that they need her to come in for. And that there are 2 contracts that have been sent to her email. So she thanks the woman. She pulls up the emails. The first one was just kind of like a basic one for like an employee type thing. Nothing crazy. Pretty basic, right? The second one was the more personal side of the job. So the dude had clearly done like a thorough background check. Because he went all the way back to like her high school boyfriends up until the last guy she was with. He even knows about her mother currently messing with a married man on a yacht. Okay? So he's done his due diligence. So even though, the interview at the end when she almost fell wasn't maybe the greatest, I think it was also, it seemed like she's jaded by love when he's looking at her history and he's looking at, with her mother. So he's looking at, okay, if she's jaded, then, this might be a good one for me not to have to worry about any feelings getting involved. So you already know that's going to be a problem in itself when you think that way. And so like a couple of stipulations in there is kind of like, you can't like deny him 5 times in like 2 months straight. If you do that, then you're just like automatically terminated. Because again, that is a part of the job is, you taking care of that need for him. So then she gets a call from Kimmy, and Kimmy, of course, was like, you need to go to that second interview. But she also has called her father and had, set up an interview for her to go there because there's like this entry-level computer job. And I'm just kind of like, bitch, why the hell you didn't do this for her before? Like, you've seen her grinding, trying to get a job. Why the fuck you wouldn't do that before? So I don't know. That just made me feel some type of way. Not that I'm like okay, you need to give out handouts. No, I'm not saying that. But if if there's a possibility there's an entry-level job, she needs money now. You see, she's like applying for stuff that's like, under what she's qualified for because she needs work. Why would you not say, hey, Dad, I got someone that you can maybe interview. I'm not saying give her the job, but at least tell her about the interview. Like, it's kind of crazy to me. I don't know. That made me look at Kimmy a little sideways. I didn't like that. So she's going to go to that interview as well. She's also going to go to the second interview with Hunter. She feels a little bit better now because now everything doesn't hang on this. She kind of maybe has a backup. So that makes her happy. So she goes in for the interview. The for Kimmy's dad. And of course, they want to hire her on site. But she tells them, like, can I have a day or two to think about it? And they're like, sure, no problem. So then she goes to the second interview for Hunter. And when she goes in, Brenda has her do like a bunch of tests, different computer programs. And of course, she, passes with flying colors. She goes in to meet with Hunter, and he just lays it all out for her. He doesn't kiss. He doesn't do romance. But he says, I will fuck you and you will like it. I was like, okay, I like that. Straight to it. He's rubbing on her, and then he tells her, I want to hear you say that you want me to fuck you. And I was like, oh, so hot. So he, of course, starts like fingering her, and she's like soaking wet, beyond soaking wet. So the whole time he's fingering her, he's like telling her like what he wants from her, and it freaked her out because I don't think anyone had ever turned her on that way. And it was kind of like this thing of, oh my gosh, she felt like, I gotta get out of here. So she darts out of there because she's like, I can't do this, because if I can't say no to him. Like, if I say yes, I'm never gonna be able to say no to him. That's a hell of a way to feel, And so she was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. And so she runs out. So the next day, she goes to lunch in North Beach with Kimmy. Oh, by the way, yeah, this is all in San Francisco. Shout out to San Francisco. I totally love that city. And I know where this is, so this was so awesome. So she goes to North Beach with Kimmy. They have lunch. Kimmy wants, of course, all the deets from the interview. So she tells her everything except for the part where she let him finger her. So Kimmy told her the way he asked her for it was just kind of like, I need to see if we're sexually compatible. And then they just went at it. It wasn't no saying no sexy shit or trying. It was none of that. So she's like, that's weird. So Olivia was like, and then apparently when he's done, like, it's almost like a light just goes off and he just goes back to working. He's not trying to like help you put your clothes on, like nothing. It's just like, okay, I'm done. So Olivia was like, well, I don't know. That's how he was with me, but I freaked out. I ran out. And she told her the stuff he said and what he wanted her to say to him and stuff like that. And Kimmy was just like, oh my gosh, like that is so hot, So while they're talking, guess who just happens to walk up? It's Hunter himself. And he asked Olivia out to lunch. And she was like, I'm having lunch right now with my girl Kimmy. And he was like, Kimmy was like, oh, I have stuff to do. We'll catch up later. And so she agrees to kind of go ahead and go to lunch. He gets in the car with her. He has a driver. I think Bert Ramos. So you're going to hear me say Bert, or you're going to hear me say Mr. Ramos. It's the same person. They try and flip back and forth. I'll try and keep it to just Bert. So he takes her to a park, and he has like this whole picnic spread like place. Bert like put it all out for her and everything for them. So Hunter, of course, wants to know why she isn't accepting the position and what questions did she have. So she was like, well, I do want to know about the pay and the benefits. So he's like, well, it pays $138,000 a year. Benefits are amazing. Little to no copay. Like, he's selling it. And she says, he let her know when it came to like previous admins, they can't initiate. And he's, if they needed more, he would tell them, get it from somewhere else. So she still was like, nah, because she knew her feelings had the potential to get involved. First of all, this is someone that completely, just, he did it for her. And that's too many variables to make you fall, Hunter's just like, listen, let's just do like a 30-day contract.